Hello, it's Terri from Danu's Irish Herb Garden, and some people have been wondering about this little fella. Oh, he's walking away. Brock. This is Brock, Jazz's little playmate. Here he is. Hello, darling. Hello. Hello, and there's beautiful Jazz. So they've become great friends, we're delighted to say, because we were worried that if there was any jealousy, we wouldn't keep him. We wouldn't do anything to make Jazz's life unhappy, but they're just the best of friends. And she is so gentle with him. When they're playing tug of war with an old sock or a stick, she's very, very gentle. She lets him win. She's very patient as well when he's leaping all over her. So another question that people have been asking, or not really a question, but people have been kindly suggesting things about our problem with the wind, and they've been suggesting evergreens and hedging, and of course I'd just like to show you what we've done. See, when I first moved in, my uncle gave me cuttings for privet, or ironwood as he called it, and I planted that around the whole perimeter, but unfortunately only about 2 plants actually took. And back then I wasn't able to be gardening because I had to work and I didn't have the time to, and I didn't have any knowledge, and I didn't have a clue about anything. So what I did then was, along this wall I put in a row of hawthorn. I'll just go through this willow arch. And you can just see the tip there of the hawthorn. So that's all along that wall. And then I put in this alder tree. Whoops. The alder is wonderful in this climate, in these conditions. And since then we've added lots of other little trees. So there's some ash, there's elder, there's pine, birch, rowan. So they're all coming along pretty nicely because they have the bit of shelter from the hawthorn. And of course, once they get going, there's oaks there as well. There's oaks, there's a chestnut, there's maple, crampbark, copper beech. One of my friends was visiting yesterday and she was a bit worried they're all too close together, and they may well be, but it's because that's where there was some soil. Because trying to space things out is difficult because you often come across a huge stone that you can't get out. So over here, this willow is another bit of shelter, creating another windbreak. And I bought that. It was supposed to be bio willow, which was rapidly growing and large for the fire, but it just turned out to be ordinary Sally sticks. So we've just got ordinary willow in here. I'm not sure what species of willow, but I was cutting it back each year and then I just let it go, and we had a wonderful shelter belt there. It's created a lovely microclimate on this side, and I think now it's ready to have a really good pollarding, because it's getting a bit kind of leggy and it's not as thick as it was last year. So I might pollard that later on at the end of the summer, in the autumn. So there's a tree there, cherry tree, which has put up suckers all over the place. So it's turning into a cherry grove. So then along here outside the house we have lots of various types of flowers, and the oxeye daisies have just planted themselves. The valerian has just jumped the wall and is going, well, it's on some kind of journey to somewhere because it's moving anyway. There's more willow here because there is a little pond in there which is dry at the moment because of the drought we had, but that needs to be dug out this winter, or before winter rather, to provide some home and habitat for frogs and other little creatures that we have here, little lizards. So I'm just walking up here now to show you some more hedging. As you can see over there, just at the polytunnel, there's a lovely row of Griselinia and Oleria, and that is powerful. It's worked brilliantly well. And there's some more here on the driveway, and this adds further protection to the area where we're going to put in the new vegetable beds. And this is a mixed hedging. There's privet, Oleria, Griselinia, there's some cramp bark back there, there's some willow, and that's all doing very well. A couple of trees in there, some sycamore. And I think there's an ash in there somewhere. And there's a Cotoneaster, there's some spirea. And this tree was destroyed in the wind that we had a couple of months, well, about a month ago. And look how it's recovered. It's put out all these beautiful new green leaves. So really, there is some damage, as you can see, to the taller ends. They're all naked and burned, but the tree itself does seem to be recovering quite well. So I'll just show you along this front hedge, which I didn't put anything in this hedge until maybe the last 5 years. And so there's some fuchsia, lots of wild roses. There's a holly, rowan. This, I think it's an Oleria. This has been blown down by the wind, and I propped it up. It was a winter storm that blew it down. I propped it up. I stuck it in the ground. I put big stones on top of the roots to hold them in, give it a chance to reconnect. And I'm afraid it's gone again. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I may have to take it out and plant something. You see, they do get very heavy. Look, see, they do make very large branches, and because the twigs are so densely packed, they're not really good at wind resistance. And there is a buddleia, which is also being blown. And if you see just a bit further along here, another Griselinia, very tall. If we had that all along, it would be majestic. But this one I've also had to prune heavily on the other side so that it doesn't get too dense, so that the wind can get through. If I had that everywhere, it'd be brilliant. We'd have loads of privacy. But that's the downside of Connemara. Here's another buddleia that's also been blown. In here, I've just planted this. Oh, sorry, that might be Oleria. This is Griselinia here. Just planted those Griselinia. And there's some hazel, which I pruned way back in its first year. It's never really recovered. I should have left it a while. And then along here, we've got lots of alders and birches, and a sycamore, and rowan, and wild roses, all mixed in together. And they're all doing pretty well. This little alder that you see that looks very bare, it is putting out new leaves, but the damage is severe on this poor tree. Although look at its branches out there. So yeah, that's going to recover as well. So now there you can see more hedging along, some willow there along in front of the house, in front of those veg beds. And this, I'll show you now. You can see all the soil that we put up, that I showed you in the last video, just there. So you can imagine how there's going to be a lot more protection once that's planted up with hedging, and it'll be mixed, because if you have only one kind, you're at risk from the wind. We had a friend who had a beautiful polytunnel and a huge protective hedge around it from Oleria. And when we had that incredible snow and ice in 2010 and 11, every part of the hedge died. So we've learned from that always mix it, and it's much better for biodiversity. It's much more traditional to have a mixed hedge, and so that's what we'll do when we plant that up this autumn. I mean, when I started out, I didn't know what I was doing, and because of the rocks in the ground, you can just plant where there's a space. And so a lot of this side of the driveway is completely mixed up. We've got willow and sycamore, rowan, more willow, some marshmallow, some privet, cramp bark, birch, escalonia, and these literally just popped in where they could fit in. And so it doesn't, maybe it doesn't work, I don't know. I like the variation, I like the variety. We get flowers, we get berries, and again they're making their own little microclimate along here. So we are learning to do protection, and we're learning to plan a bit more carefully. Before it was just enthusiasm and just plant this and let's stick it in, and oh my God, there goes a tree into the ground. But when we did try to plan more carefully around this area with all the trees down here, it turned out to be lovely and deep in some places, so you could get a tree in, and then very shallow and stony in other places. So you can tell probably, if I go a bit closer, there's 3 oaks there that were planted at the same time to make a kind of little triangulation, and one of them is still half the size of the other 2. So there's one of them, and then just over there is the other one, and then there is the third one. All went in on the same day at the same time. All came from the same place. So you just don't know how they're going to get on. But I love this time of year when all the flowers are out. The glucosema there is gorgeous, and the Jacob's ladder and the phacelia. The roses are beginning to climb up over the trellis. Just down at the end there's a teasel right there, and that's just about to flower. So that's a newcomer to the garden. I love it because it's got so many ancient connotations. So I am happy with my garden. I love it to bits, and I'm so privileged to work in it. It is an ongoing job. It's a never-ending job. It will never be ended, and that is the way it should be because of the various cycles of life. I'll just show you one more thing before I go in, and that is the cherry tree that I mentioned is a sour cherry. And whoops. And as I said, it's put up lots of suckers, so we now have a cherry grove on this little, what started out to be known as the cottage garden, because we had lots of little flowers in here, which back then, as I say, I didn't really know anything. They were all probably annuals, they were all probably bedding plants that weren't any good for insects, and so we replaced them with some shrubs. And I put in a couple of trees, but this tree has just put up babies. I don't know, is it suckers? I think it is. It could be that the cherries are dropping. Look at those cherries. And I tasted one yesterday and it was actually very pleasant. I'm surprised they're still here. I keep expecting them to be gone, that the birds will take them. Look at all those baby cherries. All of this is from the one cherry tree. I'm not even sure now which one is the mother, because some of the babies are almost as tall. And look over there behind that one at the back there, look. It's actually a bit of a problem because I have a weeping cherry up there. I have a beautiful spirea, and these are cheeky enough to be pushing things out. So I may have to try and remove some of these. It would be nice if they were rooted and then I could plant them on again. But we'll see what happens in autumn. So we're expecting incredible rain today. We're being told to expect a deluge with thunder and lightning. So I just managed to fit this film in before that change in the weather. And hopefully it will only be one day, which will be very good for the land. But we can then get better weather hopefully after that. Here's another teasel. Aren't they interesting? Look, they're like little soft hair brushes. They're gorgeous. They're just so interesting as well. A friend of mine had spotted that a lot of them had self-seeded in a graveyard. So we went and dug some up, and I've dotted them around, and they're all doing well, except one that got broken. But such a lovely little fuzzy, kind of a hairbrushy, kind of a flower head. Amazing. So have a lovely day yourselves, and I hope your weather is better than ours and that you're able to enjoy the summertime. There's a lovely holly, one of my, what I regard as a plant ally. Beautiful friend holly, medicinal as well as protective. There's the weeping cherry that's being engulfed by all these other cheeky cherries. So I'm off now for my breakfast. Have a wonderful day. If you've enjoyed the video, please subscribe. And I have some books for sale on my website, and I have a couple of courses on the Udemy site, and I have a workshop coming up in July the 18th. All the details are on the website. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.